Hey everyone, it's Jordan from Scout, and today in Shop Talk, we're going to be talking about the UPT, the battery, and the full electrical system inside your Scout camper. If you tune into the end, we're going to show you how to add things onto this UPT so you can wire in whatever you want. All right, let's go jump into a camper and I'll show you where the UPT, the battery, the inverter, and other electrical components are inside your Scout camper. So now that we're inside a hard wall Yoho camper, you'll see that the UPT is right here. Now everything, including your fridge, your diesel heater, your lights, your fan, all come down to the back side of this UPT, and it's all wired into that. The inverter itself is wired direct to the battery with its own breaker. There's a switch on the back side, so you're gonna have to reach around the back, flick that on, and then when it's on, you're gonna see that the green light turns on the front here. That means you got 120 volts now coming to those plugs. This is a GFCI plug, so it will trip if it gets anything that interrupts it. Just make sure you hit the reset button to reset the GFCI. Okay, so over on this side, this is where you're gonna find your battery. You're gonna see that this is not a compartment. So underneath here, don't store stuff because this is obviously your electrical stuff. Pull the cover off. You have your Expion battery here. You have some positive and negative bus bars on the back. And you're also gonna find your main 60 amp and 120 amp breakers down there as well. So your battery here, you'll see that the blue light is on the top. So that means now with the switch turned on in your UPT, that you're gonna have 12 volt power inside your camper. So one of the apps you're gonna wanna download is the Victron Connect app. And that's gonna connect to the DC to DC, the MPPT charge controller, as well as the smart BMV. So you're gonna wanna look at the VIN number on the outside of your camper, look up the numbers. On mine, it's 72697. And so that's gonna show up all of the components that are Victron. To go into it, we'll start with the smart BMV. We're gonna open it up. It's gonna say connecting. It's gonna say Bluetooth pair request. From the factory, that's set to 6 zeros, so 000, 000, then hit pair. It's gonna connect. And once it connects, it's gonna show all the different items going in and out of your battery, basically. It's gonna say unsecure access. You can change your pin at this point. I'm gonna click not now for now. So on this screen here, you're gonna see that the output voltage of the battery is 13.7978 volts. The current going in and out right now is actually 0 because the battery is full or there's no draw going on in the battery right now. Power usage is wattage, so that's 0 as well. And consumed amp hours, so that's the amount of power getting pulled out of your battery, is at 0 currently. So if we put a load on, like if I turned on this fridge and I turn on the fan, we are going to see that there's going to be some amp draw. There we go. So there, now that the fan and the fridge are running, you're beginning to see that the current draw is going up to almost 3 amps. Now it's going down. Power watt usage is 10 watts. Time remaining, if we use the same power consistently, we can go for about 10 days on that single battery. If we go up to the history tab, that's going to kind of give us a history of how many amp hours in power we pulled in and out of the battery. And trends, this is really good for diagnosing certain things. If we ever have issues and you call into us, we're going to probably ask you based on the trends menu here to kind of see how the voltage and power and stuff is going in and out of your battery. So that is the smart BMV. We'll go back. We'll go into the smart solar. Same thing, it's going to connect. It's going to ask for passwords. So again, 6 zeros, hit pair. It's going to connect, fetching data. So right now it's a cloudy day, so we're only getting 42 watts off the solar panel on the front. But when you're in sunny weather, obviously it's going to go up. It's a 190 watt panel on the hard walls. So you're going to get more wattage as the power usage inside your camper goes up. So here's the solar panel voltage at the very top. You're going to see it's going to be about 16 volts, 19 volts. Totally depends. It's a cloudy day, so sun is going in and out. Current off the panel right now is 2.3 amps. The battery voltage is going to say that. And then it's actually charging from that panel to your battery at 3 amps in bulk charge. So right now with the systems on, it's actually basically the sun is helping power everything and there's not much going out of the battery. If we go up to the history up here, you're actually going to be able to see that there's a chart throughout the days that this has been in the sun And you're gonna be able to see that there's different days with more sun and less sun, or the battery is full. And you're actually gonna be able to see kind of how your solar panel is working throughout that. So if you park in the shade a lot and you're like, oh, I need more sun, park a little bit more in the sun, and you're gonna be able to see that consumption from the sun go up a lot. So we'll go back to the main menu, and now we're gonna click on the Orion XS. Same thing, gonna be connecting again, 6 zeros, hit pair. Now this is gonna show as off because this camper is not on a vehicle currently. But if you have your truck running, 7-pin wired in, or if you were to upgrade to the 50 amp plugged in, then you're gonna be able to see that the output voltage on the DC to DC is gonna be about 14 volts. The current could be anywhere between 4 amps coming off your 7-way, all the way up to 50 amps if you wire in the full 50 amp package, and then the input voltage and output voltage. So that's what that does. The graph, this is just showing you the charge graph, and the history just shows you the history of the charging from your DC to DC. So very similar to your solar. So that's the Orion XS. If we hit back, there we go. We got all 3 of our components within the V2 now set up. If you have a V1, you would obviously set up 1 more MPP charge controller so you can see the external solar input, but that's the Victron system. So the app for your battery, the Expion 360 app, download that on your phone, tap begin, and to start, you don't have to sign in, you can just hit offline access. Now you see that I have a couple batteries here, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna scan for the battery specifically inside this camper. So it's the 250224. I'm gonna click on that. It'll say success, click OK. Device created successfully, hit OK. Now go back to the home button, and you'll see the battery is now there on the far left. Click on that battery. And it's gonna take about 30 seconds to 45 seconds to fully connect to that battery and get all the data from it. So right now, within the app, you can see that the battery is now at 99% charge. If we click the little arrow at the bottom, it's gonna bring up a status menu. And so the status right now is charging, even with the different items on inside the camper. Estimated time remaining, it's still kind of figuring that out. The current going into the battery is actually 1.1 amps. The remaining capacity is 130.4 amp hours. So remember that battery is 132 amp hours, so it's almost full. The battery voltage itself at the battery is 13.4. The system heating, so this is where you can turn on or off the system heating inside that battery. So just remember that you can turn that feature on, just say please allow a moment for the heater status to update, but you can turn that heater on even when it's not close to 0 degrees Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit, but it'll only activate the heater when the battery detects that the cells are getting really cold. So right now you'll see that the battery cells are saying it's 46 degrees Fahrenheit. So probably pretty soon, if it gets any colder, that battery heater is going to turn on, going to increase the cell battery heat so that it can take a better charge. So that's something really to key in on, especially if you're in cold weather, is making sure that that battery temperature in the cells is nice and high, and make sure that battery heater is turned on. So that's the Expion app, and that'll tell you everything inside that battery. So it's really important to have both the Victron Connect app, so you can detect everything in here, and the Expion app, so you can detect everything within your battery. So these 2 apps combined together will give you a good idea, kind of like your gas gauge on your car, about how much power is left inside your system. So if you're using the Victron Connect app, you'll actually be able to see how many days left you have, as well as the Expion app. Make sure those 2 are in sync, and then you'll be able to say, I can actually spend this amount of time out in the woods without having to charge up on your camping trip. All right, let's do a deep dive into the UPT, or Unbound Power Tower. This is the V1, this is the new V2. So in the V1, up here, you have your Victron Smart BMV. This is how you detect the power going in and out of your battery. Right here, you have a 90-watt USB-A and USB-C port. Right below here, you have these buttons are actually breakers. So if something in your camper blows a breaker, this button will pop out. You simply push it back in to reset it, and your system should be going again. Over here, you have switches, so if you want to turn off a certain component within your camper, you flick that switch, it turns it off. If you want it back on, just turn it back on. Down here on the bottom, this is a battery disconnect for the UPT itself. There's obviously another one inside the camper that we showed you, and that's the V1. The V2, very similar. You got your smart BMV up here from Victron. You have a 90-watt USB-A and USB-C port here. Now the difference is that you have a disconnect up here on-off switch. So this is how you turn the power on and off for the UPT as opposed to the switch down here for the V1. Right here, you have switches and breakers built into one. So instead of the buttons, you actually have a switch to turn stuff on and off as well. If the breaker blows, it goes into this position here to reset it. You push that in and it resets the breaker. And those are the two differences on the front side of the UPT. So now let's go to the back side. So on the back side of the UPT, on the V1 over here, we have up here is our heater solar controls. So these are spade connectors that connect back here. This is for different electrical systems like your lights, your fan, and stuff like that. This is where your battery connects. And over here is where your Orion DC-DC charger connects, or charging through your 7-way would be right through here. And this is your shore power charger. So it has a fan on it. You might hear that a little bit when you plug it in initially when it's under load, but this charges from the 120-volt plug on the outside of your Scout camper at 40 amps. Over here on the V2, you'll see it's a little bit different laid out. Up here are Anderson connectors for your solar, for your heater, and for your lights, and different systems are up here. Right here is your battery monitor connection that powers the monitor on the front side of the panel. Right here is actually where your battery connects. These are now the upgraded DC-to-DC ports. So you're gonna have a 7-way port into one of these, and then as well you can put in 50 amp charging. So it's a little bit easier, simpler wired than this system over here. As well down here we have our shore power charger. This charges at 40 amps just like the other one, and it has the fan when it's under load. The next component is gonna be our battery. Now in the Scout campers, we teamed up with the Expion 360. This is the 132 amp hour Group 27 size lithium battery. The nice thing about this lithium battery is it actually has a heating system in it that is layered so that your cells within your battery can heat really quickly. Now a couple features on the front. Over here you'll see the blue light. That's your power button. So if you see that ring of blue, it means your battery is powered on. This silver button over here is your heater element. So you would click that in. That doesn't mean your heater is on immediately, unless you're in really cold weather. Your heater will only turn on when the battery detects the cells getting close to 32 Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. Lithium doesn't like to take a charge when it gets below 0 degrees, and it'll stop discharging when it gets to minus 20 degrees. So that's the nice thing about that heater, is you can be camping in cold weather and your battery will still be performing really well. These two ports here are the CAN bus ports. Now we don't utilize those in the Scout camper, but if you ever wanted to add on to the electrical system with, let's say, a Victron Servo GX, you can put the CAN bus onto here and you'll be able to detect everything that's going inside this battery through the Servo GX. Storage. If you ever want to put your camper into storage for a little bit, there are some things that you need to know about lithium that's different than lead acid batteries. So because this battery is smart, it's got the power button here on the top, what we recommend is you discharge your battery between 50 to 70% discharge, and you'll be able to see that on your Expion app so that when it goes into storage, those cells in there are still nice and healthy. Now you can store this outside in any kind of temperature, just make sure you discharge it between 50 to 70%. Now you might want to expand on your battery system in your Scout camper. Now one thing you're going to want to make sure that you do is you stay with Expion batteries if you're going to keep the original battery. You don't want to mix and match batteries. Because lithium, each battery has a battery management system in it, you can't mix and match different manufacturers' BMSs with each other. They won't work. So make sure you get the same 132 amp hour Group 27 Expion if you want to keep the original battery in your Scout camper. The Expion battery has a whopping 12-year warranty on it, and they're based in Oregon. So if you have any issues, you can reach out to them. They're a great team. They'll help you out with anything you need. So the next component is our inverter. We chose to go with the Victron 500 volt amp inverter. This will be able to power a lot of things within your camper, phones, laptops, camera batteries, things like that, things that need 120 volt power. Now, one thing to be aware of with the inverter is that there's a switch here on the back. I always recommend customers that they leave that switch off if they're not using their inverter. Because if you leave it on, this inverter, while it's very efficient when it's not being used, will still drain down your battery a little bit. And over time that will add up. So make sure that switch is in the middle position. And then if you want to use it, switch that on. You'll be able to use 120 volts of pure sine wave power out of this inverter. So that's the Victron inverter. It's pretty simple, but this runs straight off your battery. If you're ever wondering how your system works from AC to DC and DC to AC, here's kind of how it works. You have this plug right here. That's the plug on the exterior of your Scout Camper. It takes 120 volt AC power. It goes into our converter, which converts that AC waveform into a flat DC line to charge your battery. Now the inverter takes that flat DC line, inverts it into an AC wave at 60 Hertz into pure sine wave so you can get AC out of there. So that's a bit of a deep dive. So now we're going to show you how to open up the UPTs and see what's inside. For the V1, you're going to want a Phillips drill bit. For the V2, what you're going to want is a 4mm Allen key wrench. So the reason why you might want to open it up is because either one of the components inside failed, or you want to upgrade something within here and attach to the accessory points on the back. All right. Okay, so now that we've opened up our UPTs, this is the V1, this is the V2, you can see that this is a component-based system. So we can open it up, we can pull different parts out and replace them, expand on this, take something out. That is why you might need to get into this if there's ever some type of fuse or breaker that's gone, or the MPPT needs to get replaced for some reason. The solar charge controller, what does it do? How does it work? So these are Victron 7515 MPPT charge controllers. What that means, the 75 means that you can pull in 75 volts from the panel on your roof and then output 15 amps out of this charge controller. So if you ever want to expand on the panel on your roof, you just have to make sure that those voltages combined off the panel on your roof are not higher than 75 volts. And then this will output 15 amps of 12 volt power to your Expion battery. So you'll notice that there is 2 solar charge controllers in the V1 versus 1 solar charge controller in the V2. Now the difference with that isn't huge, but you need to know the difference. In the V1, one of these is your external port, that SAE port on the exterior of your camper. The other one is for your panel on your roof, or your 2 panels on your roof if you have a pop-up. Now on the V2, this solar charge controller here only manages the panels that are on your roof. So if you want to add on a second panel like this, or put out a blanket outside of your camper, you need to make sure that if you have the V2, that you have a panel that is solar charge control regulated. Otherwise, the voltage coming off this panel is going to be too high for your battery and can actually damage your battery. So the V1, it has an MPPT charge controller in there for that exterior solar blanket. The V2 does not, so you have to make sure that that exterior solar panel blanket has an MPPT charge controller built into it, or we can wire one in on the exterior of this UPT so that you don't have to worry about that. So the yellow port on the back of the V2 is the exterior solar blanket port, and the other gray are for the 7-way and for the 50 amp DC to DC charging. Next component, and one of the biggest components that a lot of people ask about, is the Orion XS DC to DC charger in the V1 there and the V2 back here. So the Orion XS is the 50 amp 12 volt to 12 volt DC to DC charger. So what that does is that takes the power going through your 7-way into the UPT and then charges your Expion battery at an efficient rate. Now, this is downrated from 50 amps down to 18 amps max when it's on a 7-way cord. So that's one thing you need to be aware of, is that most trucks only push about 4 to 8 amps through that charge line on the 7-way, so it's only a trickle charge. That's why this is actually downrated to 18 amps. If you want to expand on that and actually wire in the full 50 amps, there is the plug on the back of the V2 or on the V1 where you can wire in with 6-gauge wiring straight to your starter battery a full 50 amp charge going to that Expion battery. So at 132 amp hours, in less than 3 hours, you'll be able to charge that battery from 0 all the way up to 100%. So the next component that we're going to look at is the converter. So on the V2, it's right here. On the V1, it's right here. So what that does is it takes your 120 volt shore power, turns it into DC power, and can charge your Expion battery up to 42 amps straight off of that shore power plug. If your shore power is ever not working and you're not getting a charge going to your battery, now you always want to check that 120 volt plug, make sure you're actually getting power through there. But the next thing to check would be these 2 blade fuses in here. So those are 30 amp fuses wired in series. So if those ever blow, they're not going to allow your battery to charge. So make sure you check that. And that might be a reason why you need to open this up. So when it comes to upgrading and customizing your UPT, there's a few options. There's a couple spare breakers at the bottom of both UPTs. They're labeled spare and they're about 10 to 15 amps each. So if you want to use those, they're actually wired from the breaker all the way to the back over here, or from this breaker here to the back Anderson plugs back here. But if you want to upgrade those to higher amperage or lower amperage, these are just Blue Sea rocker breakers here, as well as Blue Sea push button breakers over here. So you can change those out. It's just a couple screws. You can either upgrade or downgrade the wiring based on the amperage. Just make sure you follow the Blue Sea guide for proper amperage and wire ratings. And that's how you would upgrade your UPT. Some of the things that customers have added on to their UPTs are things like fans, 12 volt water pumps, 12 volt heaters, and things like that. So you can get creative and change things up inside your camper, make it really personalized to yourself. And that's why we went to this component-based system in our new Scouts. Let's do a rapid fire section based on the most commonly asked questions on the UPT in the electrical system. Number 1, why isn't my battery charging in the winter? Well, the first thing might be is that it's 0 degrees Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit and the heater is not turned on in your battery. Make sure you turn this silver button on here or go into your app and turn on the heater in there, and that'll help the heater inside your battery warm up the cells so it takes a charge. The other thing to check is to make sure that that 120 volt extension cord outside your camper is plugged in properly and you're getting power at that plug. Number 2, why isn't my solar charging my battery? So one of the things with the Victron MPPT charge controllers is that the voltage coming off your panel has to be 5 volts over the voltage in your battery. So if you're in a shaded situation and your camper isn't getting much sun, the voltage isn't going to be high enough to actually charge your battery. So make sure that when you're in the Victron Connect app, you look at the voltage coming off your panel and it should be at least 5 volts above your battery. If it is and it's still not taking a charge, then we need to do a bit more of a deep dive into why that is happening. Number 3, if the electrical system inside your camper is acting a little funny, especially when you put it on heavy loads, one thing you're going to want to make sure is that blue button on top of your battery is actually showing a blue button. Because if it is showing dark, that means your battery is actually turned off and your camper is actually probably running off the solar power on the roof. So make sure that is turned on, and then the electrical system inside your camper should function as normal. Number 4, I'm getting a beeping sound coming from my smart BMV controller on my UPT front. What that might be saying is that there's either too high a voltage or too low a voltage going in and out of your battery. So what you're going to want to do, click the screen to get rid of the beeping, but then double check all of the connections at your battery and also at the battery shunt, the BMV, to make sure that those are tight and connected. Number 5, there's no electrical in my camper, but my smart BMV controller is showing that my battery is 100%. So this is one that is very common. What happens is that this battery, since it has a heater within it and it has basically a computer within it, it uses a bit of internal power. Now, that internal power use inside the battery doesn't go through the UPT. So the two systems can get out of sync. What I suggest is making sure that you have both the Victron Connect app and the Expion app downloaded so you can check the two across from each other. Usually what you're gonna find is your battery's dead. So charge that battery up to 100% at least once a month to make sure those two systems are fully in sync. That's the deep dive into the UPT and the electrical system within your Scout camper. I'd love to hear about your electrical upgrades that you've done inside your Scout camper. This is the stuff I enjoy geeking out about. If you have any questions, reach out to us at scoutcampers.com.